Oh, you got water. All right. We are live here with another episode of Profusion. Today we've got the rising real estate star, Branton Blount. No, just Branton Blount right here. How's it going, Branton?
Good, man. Good to see you. It's been a minute.
Yeah, you have a very all these pictures back here. What is in your background here, Branton?
We got to, the proverbial "I love me" wall, which you got to put somewhere, and my wife doesn't let me put them in the house, so I threw them all in the home office. But we got the Bearing Group here, which is our company in real estate. But the other photos are from my past, my career. Andy and I, he won't tell you, but we went to high school together, and since that time, he's gone one direction, I've gone another. I spent 23 years in the military and in federal law enforcement. So I did a lot of stuff in executive protection. So protected various government officials over the years, all the fun suit and earpiece stuff, and criminal investigations and prosecutions. But so those are some photos from the old days. I think we got, let's see, here we go. Secretary Chu, when he was the Secretary of Energy, I was on his executive protection detail. And then over here is former Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld. So
nice.
Some of the fun people I got to interact with and watch how they worked over the years.
So what are you, a Republican, or are you a Democrat, or you don't say?
Heading right to the down and dirty, huh? Generally pretty moderate independent.
Okay.
In a professional status, we protected whoever we were assigned to protect, and we had a job to do so that they could do their jobs. And so that's a real kind of a lack of bias there. And then the personal side we'll leave out of it.
So are you still active?
Yeah, no, wrapped up and have been doing the real estate thing and growing the multifamily real estate business over the past 5 years, and getting ready to retire from the military after 23 years. And I'm in the reserves now. So I was in the Army for 19 years and then ended up receiving a direct commission as a Navy intelligence officer in the reserves.
That moves so fast. 23 years.
It does, man. I was let's see. I joined when I was 19. So, year after we graduated, or I graduated high school, you were a year behind me, right? And
yeah, I think so.
Joined in 99. Timing is everything in life. I graduated boot camp and military police school, and then 6 months later, 9/11 happened. So I was a junior or sophomore at University of Delaware at the time, and 9/11 happened, and I was already in the National Guard paying for school, and off we went. So 8 years of active duty deployments later, I was, back home and doing things. So a lot of experience, a lot of fun experiences, and traveled a lot when I was in executive protection. We were on the road 250 plus days a year around the world, which is a young man, young woman's game. But real estate, there's a lot of parallels to real estate, to tell you the truth. Spent a lot of time learning how to look through the lens of risk assessment, risk mitigation. And I think that there's a huge amount of parallels to that over to assessing multifamily real estate and investments in general.
Yeah, I could see parallels to it for sure. Like risk and tolerance, right?
Right. So, yeah. And a lot of people forget that last piece is you need to be able to accurately and effectively exercise good judgment to identify risk. And then you need to mitigate risk with various functions in your operations plan. But the last piece a lot of people don't talk about, and it exists everywhere in life. Obviously, it's probably most talked about in areas of military or law enforcement, but it exists everywhere, which is risk tolerance, which is the ability to mitigate risk to a level, but also understand that you need to move forward and decide, can I tolerate the remaining risk? Because you're never going to get any scenario to zero risk. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole point with that is being able to then effectively tolerate the remaining risk and in real estate, achieve the business plan on behalf of the investors.
Yeah. So I just had a risk tolerance item I had to clear up. I've been hanging on to this stock for ever, right? Mm-hmm. 2.5 years, and it's embarrassing to say how much it went down. Okay. Right. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, hundreds. Okay.
It always hurts.
So my stomach hurt when it was like down a lot. So it
Right.
went back up, and I go, just today, I go, my tolerance is, it's hard to,
You
it's
got to
like
ditch it. Yep. You got to ditch it.
170, a lot of money over, almost multi is probably too, it was
Right.
enough. Right. So my tolerance, it hurt.
Right.
That was my risk tolerance. Was I willing to lose it all? Yeah, at one point, but I was just, you also can only hang on to a loser, a
Yeah, and
losing stock
not
for so
every
long.
investment we've had some real
Right.
estate investments go that way, and part of being a good owner operator and being a fiduciary of your investors' capital is knowing when the outlook has changed, knowing, look, we're not gonna go down. This is not the hill we're gonna die on. You know, uh, there's return on investment, but then there's the fundamental return of investment. And that's a very big threshold you're going to cross if you're not going to be able to actually return your investors money to them, not just what their gains are, their
Right.
profit, but their actual money. And really being able to be flexible, having a plan, but also understanding that throughout the hold period of a property or whatever the life cycle is of an asset, to be able to adapt and be flexible and say, we need to pivot here. We need to speed up renovations, slow down renovations, maintain liquidity through this tough time, which might mean getting a little bit less in rent, hurting the NOI, but keeping more cash on hand and not deploying it as quickly. It might mean refinancing or not, or selling or not, and just understanding and being communicative with your investors and being transparent about what data you're using to make your decisions.
So you're a federal agent for how much, like 15
Yeah,
years,
in
20?
the Army, and then plus on the federal civilian side. But yeah, 15
So then
plus
when did
years.
you get into acquiring apartments? You're acquiring
Yeah,
apartment units, correct?
started with a couple single family home type stuff, and
Mhm.
as many do, and realized I can't scale this as quickly as I'd like to,
Mhm.
and it's also tough to leverage certain things like professional property management companies, things like that, different types of debt products. So we transitioned into multifamily around 2018, and that's when but we really, we're really big, given our backgrounds, we're really big on credibility, right? When I was in law enforcement, back when I was a uniform cop, it was like, everybody has something to tell you. Everyone's got a story. But how credible are they? And we wanted to be credible. So we did our first property, 2018-ish. It was a 16 unit. We bought it with our own cash. We worked out
Like,
all the
we is
kinks.
you and your wife, or you
No,
and a
sorry,
partner?
my partner Felix and I, who's in the
Okay.
same background as me, military,
Mhm.
federal law enforcement,
Okay.
and we bought a
So how
16
much
unit.
was that 16 unit? How
And
much
we
was
bought
it?
it. Let's see, 272,000 in North
So,
Texas. Yeah,
like, were there walls?
yeah. There were walls. There were not very many paying tenants. We screwed up our vetting process. We didn't do very good due
So
diligence.
$272,000
Yeah,
for 16 units?
yep, and the rude awakening of trusting things like rent rolls and financials without doing, which we knew better, right? Because of our backgrounds, we tear apart fraudulent businesses for a living to prosecute them.
Mm.
So we know the process. But then you go into a new realm like real estate, and you can still make your rookie mistakes, right?
Mhm.
And so that's why we wanted to work out the kinks with our own money before we raised anybody else's into a deal. So we used all of our own cash. We bought for 272.5. We undershot the capex dramatically. The seller
So
was very
explain to the audience, what is CapEx?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, capital
No, that's
expenditures.
too
So
high.
it's
That's a
it's
high level that's a high level word.
yeah, absolutely. Capital expenditures is your renovation budget, pure and simple. So it's the money, the budget you're going to use, your estimated budget to improve the property as needed to be able to lease up or hit certain rents and ultimately stabilize the property. And a property is just a business in a box, right? It's got income over expenses, the difference of which is your net operating income, just like any other business in any other field. So we bought it for 272,000 and we put 145 about thousand into it. We emptied it down to one tenant. We did not predict that we had not planned on doing that, but we got in there and realized that half the tenants on the rent roll, the listed tenants, didn't actually pay rent or weren't the right people that were living there. Live and learn, right?
So you get a rent roll, but do you actually like vet the bank statements, like the deposits?
We do now.
Oh, we do now. Okay. Gotcha.
So yeah, no,
Gotcha.
that's a mistake you only make once.
I see. Yeah.
As
So
a,
that's
as a
like a
rookie.
real, that's called a
It's a trust, but
quality of earnings.
yes, trust but
inside of
verify,
the
right? Trust but verify.
Yeah.
So you look at their
So you
financials.
hire an accounting. Do you hire an accounting team, or do you
Yeah,
do it
if it's a
yourself
small
now?
property, it's not that hard, right? Asking
Yeah.
for the right things during due diligence period, the inspection period under contract, to get the right things from the seller is key.
So do you ask for bank
Oh,
statements?
absolutely. We want now
How
by
far back do you
standard,
go?
usually a
How far back?
minimum 24 months.
Okay.
And we want monthly bank statements from their operational accounts. And then we're going to verify that the estimated gross collections from the rent roll are close to or match what they're actually depositing into the bank from rent collections. So, so that's key. That the reported dollars are the actual dollars, and
Right.
and then expenses were usually less
Have you
concerned with.
ever seen anybody like any like made up paperwork or any
on that first deal? Yeah.
Well, you didn't. Yeah. I mean, when
There
you
was
start
there was
vetting it, are you
probably
like,
yeah there
are
was
you like,
probably a legal case to be had, but we were, it was a small property. We could handle it. We fixed it in quick order.
yeah.
But they provided us a rent roll, and about 60% of the names on there didn't even live there. They weren't the people that were living there. So
Right.
that's a kind of a blatant falsification. But their argument, we knew, would be, well, we didn't know, because they're a terrible management company. They're a
Right.
terrible owner, So we fixed it, but now we do. And we also, part of our due diligence, we have a professional property management company that's going to ultimately, if we buy the deal, manage it. They go in and they do a lease audit, and they're going to check all of the tenant record files. They're going to go over each and every lease to make sure the names match, that who's really living there. They make sure that the rent correlates, any additional fees, start date of the lease, end date of the lease. Make sure that all of the records are in place, because we need to be able to count on that. It's a contract with a human being, and we need to be able to hold them to that. So because if none of the leases have, let's just say, security deposit clauses, good luck enforcing that. It's not in writing. So you really do have to be meticulous on the front end, but that makes your life a lot easier the day you start owning the property.
So you started off with 60. You still own the 16 units today?
We sold it a year ago. We owned it for 3-4 years. But we bought it for $272. We put 150 into it. Took it down to one tenant, leased it back up, managed it remotely. We put our systems in place because we weren't living in Texas. We self-managed it. We really wanted to learn the business end to end, inside and out, as part of that credibility piece. So we managed contractors remotely. We had a 1099 property manager that worked for us. And at the month 10, we stabilized it. We took it to a local bank and we did a cash out refinance. And
so how much did you cash out?
$445,000. So purchase.
What they appraise it
plus,
at?
yeah, they appraised it at $595,000. So we more than doubled the property value.
You took out that much. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did a 75% takeout, and we broke even in that we had no money in the deal at refi. So we pulled out 100% of our money, and then we held it for an additional 2 years, and then sold it for $700,000.
Okay. And you had 400 into it? What'd you have into it again? 275, 272 plus the one.
Yeah, 272. We were all in at like 445, which is almost the exact number we cashed out with a 75% takeout.
So it was a netted gain of 245.
Right. Exactly.
Over 4 years.
Over 3-4 years. Yeah, 3.5, 4 years.
And how much cash flow was it generating you during that time?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I'm
just trying to, magnify one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we were making a couple $1,000s a month. It was relatively low.
Each you or total?
No, off the property. Cash flows available for distribution.
$2,000.
Yeah, something like that.
But
nobody
and your partner,
was
or just you?
Total. total.
Okay,
It was,
total. Okay.
yeah. But it
I mean,
was,
that's not that like that. I mean,
no one's leaving their job over that, right? I mean, no
yeah,
one's
yeah, yeah,
walking
yeah.
away from.
It's like yeah,
It's
it's
a
definitely
stepping
like a
stone.
single. You
Yeah,
know, maybe a double. I'd probably
right.
say a single,
No, it
but
is
yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
But it's one of those things where you have to get started somewhere. You have to take
Yeah.
your you have to take your licks, work out the kinks, get your lessons learned. We wanted to do it with our own money before we did it with other people's money. And then we organically scaled. We did
So wait. What is that
mhm.
worth today?
Probably it's a smaller market. I mean,
Same.
today, since the treasury rate and everything else has gone crazy over the past year, probably about the same. But at
Okay.
its height, it was
Where
probably
was this?
worth North
Where?
Texas, Wichita Falls.
Okay. You love investing in Texas. Is that where all your units are?
Yeah, I don't love investing in Texas.
Okay.
Texas is, you can't ignore the economic drivers of the state from an investment perspective.
Okay.
It's got a very strong economy, a lot of growth in multiple markets statewide. There is taxation down there. Property taxation is pretty predatory. And insurance, at least in the south of Texas, down near the Gulf, has really gone haywire this year. We're talking 120% increases in insurance rates, which
Yeah.
can very quickly destroy the value of your property. It
Yeah.
can,
Same with Florida. There was so much
yeah,
fraud going on. You know, for years I heard about, oh, just you want a new roof? Just call a roofer and tell them you're missing a shingle and then you get a free roof. And I was like, I got enough money. I just bought a roof. I was like, it's like
right.
15,000. It's like, I don't even fucking do that. Sorry, but I don't need to do that. I'm like, it's not enough money to like risk it.
Yeah.
And I was like, but
Yeah. And they always want to
apparently,
involve claims adjusters. And then when you go to
apparently
sell it, you got this. Yeah.
everybody
Everybody
in
was
the
doing it.
state has
Everybody
done
was
this.
doing it.
Now, my policy from 2017 was $700-800. I just got my newest one. It's $4,000 now for
Right.
my house.
So we own several assets in Corpus Christi. Great market, very strong. Overnight, literally April 1st, we went from, now it's incrementally climbed over the past 3-4 years. We were at an average of about $600 to $700 a unit. So if it's a 47 unit, multiply by $600 to $700, that was the annual policy amount premium. It's gone up 700, 800, 900. We were at $900 a unit on a 142 unit that we own down in Corpus Christi. And overnight it went to 1680 a door.
Oh,
That can wipe out that can wipe out 2 years
that's
of value add work.
140,000 in insurance costs.
Yeah. And the big thing about that,
plus the new number.
right. And the big thing about that is it's not just about insurance companies just raising their rates because of storms like Hurricane Ian. What it was a combination of is these are a lot of these policies on the commercial side are layered. So there's multiple back end providers that are stacked into that to reduce each one of their risk. Right. So if it's a $2 million policy, and I'm not an insurance guy, but this is how it's been explained to me, is that there might be 3, 4, 5 providers in there, each with certain exposure. Well, it wasn't just about the cost due to storms. It's that it's a supply and demand problem in a lot of these Gulf states, Texas, Florida, Louisiana. Half of those back end providers just pulled out. They no longer provide policies in the state. So now there's a supply problem, and everyone that's left has a much higher exposure on their policies. So the cost goes up.
So you started in 2018, 16 units. You started with a couple single family homes. It sounded like, would you flip those? Did you rent them out?
Yeah, flipped them, turned them, BRRRR, the buy, renovate.
You like that method. You buy, renovate, and then you cash out.
It's ideal. In the multifamily space, there are times in the market cycles where you can do it. And if you hit it right, you can find something that, you can buy at 60 cents on the stabilized dollar and renovate it for 2 years and then go and refinance it just like we did and pull out all the money, return the money to investors, and then hold it.
So you've grown that 16 unit to how many units are you at now?
We organically grew. We did a 47 unit, a 40 unit, 142 unit, 272 unit. We're under contract. We're contracted on a 149 unit right now. So we're getting up towards 1,000 doors under management. And then we always, this is a team sport. So a particular deal in a particular market in a particular state, you have to arrange the pieces to get that deal done. And so we have partners that we've worked with, that we trust, that we like to work with, and we'll plug and play and build a team around the needs of a deal.
Yeah. So you've gone from 16 doors to 1,000. And then, I mean, I guess it's paying. I don't know. You've got
It's getting
partners
there.
in
No,
there.
it's getting there. And
So
a lot of the things that people don't talk about in
like
this
how many
business.
doors do you want to get to? Is that,
Yeah,
what is
it's
your
less
goal?
about the doors. It's the quality of the doors. I mean, anybody
Right.
can go out and, well, and raise a bunch of millions of dollars and go put someone else's money into a deal, take their fees, and maybe, who knows how they underwrote, who knows, if the wind changes, if all of a sudden they're underwater, how much contingency budgets did they have in place? How good was their underwriting really is what it comes down to, and their analysis, fancy word for analysis. And, you see a lot of people right now going belly up because they underwrote with very, very, very tight margins. They got debt at 3.5% 2 years ago. And they're like, oh, in 2 years, we're going to do a refinance and it's going to be 3.5%. And we're going to pull out all this money. And all the returns to their investors were based off of this at best estimated guess on being able to go get a new loan. And now they have to pay off their old loan. It's maturing, bridge debt or whatever it is. And rates are not 3.5%. They're 6.5%.
Right.
And as a result, they're completely underwater. They may even have to bring money to the table to pay off their old loan. And so I think what you get there is, there's a lot of education programs out there where you fork over thousands of dollars. Everybody teaches you how to find deals, and all of a sudden you're qualified. And
so where can people connect with you, Brent?
Yeah, we are, we're one of those things where we're workaholics. And then we're like, someone was like, you don't have a website. I was like, yeah, we should probably get a website. So that's under development. But you can definitely connect on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, and you can find me. And then we have a website under development and always available by email.
Do you have Instagram?
I do.
Do you?
It's one of those things.
Yeah, so that's not you like LinkedIn.
I have
Instagram,
but it like sucks you in, and you're spending too much time on it.
You're open to taking on outside money, right? You're looking for investors.
Yeah, what we do is we go find deals. We put the pieces in place. We conservatively analyze the deal, and then we're going to put together an offering, and we'll take it to friends, family, equity partners, and we may raise anywhere from $1 to $7 million is the highest one we've done. And then we're going to put that money into play, and it's all regulated by the SEC. We have SEC attorneys and CPAs and all that kind of stuff. So we're all by the book here. So we pull together other people's capital that are looking for good investments in their portfolio. And the beauty about the real estate piece is, you're not flipping a business, right? You're not making some 3-4x equity multiple in real estate. You're going to hold on. You're going to be invested for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, but you're getting a lot of tax benefits along with that. So, we do cost segregation studies, which allows us to take a bunch of depreciation under the IRS law and push that to investors. So a lot of that comes in the first year or two of a hold. And the power of that is really why people say real estate's so powerful, is because you may get 40% depreciation. So for every dollar you put in, you're not paying taxes on 40 cents of it. You know what I mean?
To me, you need to talk so slow because it's like so foreign. But
no,
somebody who knows what they're doing and they're listening to you, they're like,
and if they're talking
all these like words, I have to like look them up.
Well, that's tax, right? Like, if you profit $1 from an investment, that's a gain. And the IRS says you have to pay whatever tax basis on that dollar. And the power of real estate is that you get the power of what's called depreciation. And that is the IRS accommodating owners, saying it depreciates. Your property physically falls apart over time. And we're going to allow you to write off that on a schedule. And we get to pass that on to investors. So even though they're just passive investors, they get the benefits. So you may get 40 cents of a tax write-off for every dollar you're in the deal. And now all of a sudden that adds up because it goes onto your tax return and you've got this credit with the IRS. And that's where the old, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it's less about what you make and more about what you keep. And that's where real estate is so powerful. You get a lot of high wage earners, doctors, lawyers, things like that, that all their money is active earned income. They're getting slammed in taxes, but they take their post-tax dollars and they invest it into real estate. And because of the tax benefits, their take home starts to outpace their regular W-2 job.
Invest in real estate, folks.
Yeah,
And
right.
do they get that depreciation if they invest in you?
Well, you're investing with me by trusting me with your money. You're
And then
investing.
do they
You're
get the
investing.
depreciation as well?
Yeah,
Do they?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So the money, it's based off capital contribution in the deal. That's how depreciation gets distributed and allocated.
All right, Branton, let's check in with you in a year on this,
Yeah,
and
man.
we'll see if you got to, I don't know, more 1,500
Well,
quality or
no, if you're looking for abundance in life, we were joking about this. You and I grew up in a relatively affluent part of the country, and different people come by way of that in different ways. But in my background, one of the things that I'm really big on abundance and I'm seeking is time. Being in the military, being in the federal government, they put zero value on your time. Zero.
Yeah, but if you're not working, what are you going to do? You know what I mean?
Well, it's not working. It's not working.
Yeah.
It's more about having the flexibility of owning your own time. I'm going to
Yeah,
work really
yeah. True.
hard. I'm going to get
True.
things done, and then I'm going to go spend
Mhm.
time with my kids or my
Right.
wife versus
Yeah.
sitting in a cubicle pretending like you're working half the day.
So you're saying that invest in real estate and you get back your time. You buy back your time, basically.
Eventually, yeah, that's
Yeah.
really what you get to do is start to have streams of income that aren't hour for hour for time you have to go work for it. It
Right.
starts
Where
to
you
be
don't have to work. You don't have to
exactly
work for it,
eventually,
basically.
right?
You work for it for a little
You
bit and then it
Well,
gets figured
you're
out.
a workaholic. I'm a workaholic, but it can become passive or residual. So the work you're doing on the front end pays you for many years to come.
I don't work that hard. I like to think I work smart.
But yeah, and that's the beauty of having, working in your own business. Yes, you don't have the safety security net of a paycheck coming in every 2 weeks,
True.
right?
Yeah.
But the trade-off is you are only limited by your own efficiency and work ethic versus some sort of bureaucratic environment like I grew up in, which is it doesn't matter how hard you work. You're not
Yeah.
getting promoted based off that. And you're not
Yeah.
getting, you're not really going to get any extra time off. So it really just comes down to that's why you have those kind of those clock punchers.
Control your time. All right.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up. Thank
Yeah,
you,
man.
Branton. Hit Branton up on LinkedIn here because that's his mode of transportation. And
Yeah, great to see you, man.
looking forward to having you back on.
All right, we'll talk soon.